There's one trait that separates people who get taken seriously from those who get ignored: boldness. That's what Law 28 is all about. If you're gonna move, move decisively.
And it sounds simple, but most people underestimate how powerful bold action is. We live in a world obsessed with overthinking, risk calculation, and playing it safe. So when someone acts with clarity and force, everyone pays attention.
That's the point. Boldness signals certainty, and certainty is persuasive. Even if the move isn't perfect, the confidence behind it creates momentum. People are drawn to energy.
And the opposite is true too. When you hesitate, when you apologize for existing, when you second-guess every step, people instinctively lose confidence in you.
Because doubt is contagious, and the minute you broadcast it, you open the door for others to question your role, your competence, your authority.
That's why Greene says boldness makes you seem larger, stronger, more capable than you might actually be. It's about projection. Power is often perception.
This doesn't mean reckless behavior. It means that once you've decided, you commit. You move without apology, without asking permission, without waiting for a perfect moment.
Because perfect never arrives, and the person who acts boldly in uncertainty will own the frame while others are still calculating their risk tolerance.
That's why in every domain, politics, art, business, bold players bend the rules, not because they're above the law, but because they refuse to be trapped by hesitation.
And people follow that energy, even if they don't agree, even if they're confused. Boldness demands a reaction, and in power, that's gold, because neutrality is death.
Indifference kills movements, but boldness polarizes. It attracts, it repels, but it never gets ignored.
So the question becomes, are you moving through life in soft focus, or are you stepping with boldness and claiming your space?
Because the world doesn't reward caution, it rewards command.
Let's break this down into real-world terms. Boldness isn't just about taking big risks. It's about taking clear action when others hesitate.
Right. It's about decisiveness. And in any room, the person who makes a clear move, even if it's flawed, instantly becomes more credible than the one who's frozen by fear.
And it works across the board. A job interview, a pitch meeting, a social dynamic. If you enter with energy and direction, people orient around you. You shift the dynamic.
Because most people are looking for someone to follow, not out of weakness, but because clarity reduces anxiety, and boldness gives people permission to act themselves.
There's something primal about it. Boldness cuts through uncertainty. It says, we're going this way, and people feel relieved, even if they disagree. They now know where the frame is.
And let's be honest, a bold wrong move often gets more respect than a timid correct one because it takes spine to act under pressure.
Exactly. It shows ownership. You're not waiting for the world to validate your steps. You're declaring, I'm here. I know what I want. I'm moving.
That's how people build reputations fast, not through perfection, through movement, speed, direction, impact.
Think of entrepreneurs who launched before they were ready, or artists who pushed work into the world before it was finished. Their boldness created the momentum, and the momentum created the refinement later.
Because boldness opens doors that caution never will. It creates visibility, and once you're visible, you can adjust, you can evolve. But first, you have to be seen.
And most people are hiding behind preparation, behind research, behind self-doubt. But boldness cuts through that. It says, ready or not, I'm stepping in.
And once you step, you shift the narrative. People start responding to you instead of you responding to them. That's the core of power.
So if you're sitting on an idea, a decision, a conversation, ask yourself, is hesitation helping me or protecting my fear?
Because power respects action, and boldness isn't a talent, it's a choice.
Here's something people overlook. Boldness isn't just about what you do, it's about who you become by doing it. Every bold move reinforces your identity.
Exactly. When you act boldly, you're not just signaling power to others, you're programming yourself. You're saying, I'm the kind of person who moves, who decides, who leads.
And that self-image becomes fuel. Each step builds the next. Boldness is a habit, not a one-time event, but it starts with that first push, when everything inside you wants to play it safe.
That's the real power here. You're reshaping how you see yourself, and how others see you changes because of that internal shift.
Think of historical figures, Napoleon, Alexander the Great, even artists like Picasso. Were they always right? No, but they were bold, and their boldness became their legend.
They made moves others wouldn't. They walked into uncertainty like it belonged to them, and history remembers that.
Even in modern times, think of Elon Musk. His ideas aren't always the most refined, but the boldness with which he pushes them gives him massive gravitational pull.
People respond to boldness because it feels like vision. Even if they don't understand the details, they feel the direction, and that's what creates belief.
And that belief becomes leverage. Investors, followers, employees, they gather around the person who moves first.
Because boldness creates theater. It's performative in the best sense. It says, "Watch me change the room," and the room pays attention.
That's why Greene isn't just talking about action. He's talking about entry, the way you step in, the energy you bring, the way you claim space.
If you enter apologizing, explaining, minimizing yourself, you lose power before the conversation even starts.
But if you enter like you belong, like your voice matters, people recalibrate around you. Even if you're not the loudest, your presence says enough.
And that presence, it starts with a decision. You decide to show up boldly, and the world begins to treat you accordingly.
Let's talk about what actually kills boldness. And it's not lack of opportunity, it's internal resistance. That voice in your head that says, what if it doesn't work? What will people think?
Exactly. Boldness isn't blocked by external risk, it's blocked by ego. The need to be seen as competent, as flawless, as prepared. But boldness laughs at perfectionism.
And that's why boldness is rare. Most people would rather delay forever than risk looking wrong once.
But here's the truth. People aren't watching you as closely as you think. They're too busy managing their own fear. So when someone moves with boldness, it disrupts the pattern.
Suddenly, you're visible, not because you're perfect, but because you dared to move. And that triggers something in others: curiosity, admiration, even jealousy.
And here's the twist. When you act boldly, people often assume you know something they don't. Your confidence creates the illusion of certainty.
That's the psychology of power. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to move like you believe in your direction.
Which brings us back to identity. Are you living to avoid mistakes, or are you living to create motion?
Because boldness doesn't guarantee success, but timidity guarantees invisibility.
And in a competitive world, being invisible is the same as being irrelevant.
So when you feel resistance, fear of being judged, fear of failing, fear of starting small, realize that's not truth. That's just protection, a defense mechanism keeping you comfortable.
But comfort is a trap, and no one builds power from the comfort zone.
Boldness says, I'll move anyway, even with the fear, even with the unknowns. That's what makes it powerful, not the absence of fear, but the refusal to obey it.
So if you're waiting for a sign to begin, here it is. Stop asking if you're ready. Start acting like you already belong in the room.
And remember, nobody builds influence by staying quiet, small, or undecided.
Power flows to those who claim it, boldly, publicly, unapologetically.
Here's something people don't realize. Boldness is leverage, especially when you're not the strongest in the room. It creates imbalance. It forces people to respond to you.
Right. When you're the underdog, boldness becomes a disruptor. It makes people pause. Wait, why is this person so sure of themselves? That moment of uncertainty is your window.
And that's where strategy lives. Boldness isn't always loud. Sometimes it's simply the refusal to hesitate, a move made with such clarity that others assume there's something behind it.
And sometimes there's not. Sometimes the bold move is the only move you have, and it works because no one expects it.
Think of negotiations. If you walk in hesitant, the other side senses it and pushes harder. But if you state your terms directly with confidence, they reconsider, not because your offer changed, but because you did.
Boldness reframes the interaction. It says, I'm not here to beg, I'm here to define. And people respect that, even if they resist it.
That's also true in creative work. Bold choices stand out. Whether it's a design, a message, a performance, people remember what cuts through the noise.
Because safe is forgettable. Safe blends in, but boldness lingers. It leaves an impression, and impressions are the currency of influence.
And let's be honest, sometimes you'll fail. A bold move won't land, a risk won't pay off. But even then, you earn something, respect. People remember that you tried.
And that memory builds your reputation, not as someone who waits, but as someone who moves.
Which is exactly what Law 28 encourages. Not reckless chaos, but deliberate decisiveness. Enter action with boldness, not because you're always right, but because hesitation kills momentum.
And momentum is everything. It's not just movement, it's belief in motion. It creates presence, confidence, and gravity.
So the real question isn't, what if I fail? It's, what happens if I keep shrinking?
Because the world forgets the hesitant, but it remembers the bold, even when they fall.
So if there's one thing to take from Law 28, it's this: boldness builds identity. Every move you make with confidence shapes how others see you and how you see yourself.
Power doesn't come from being right all the time. It comes from being visible, being remembered, being decisive in a world full of hesitation.
And we're not talking about arrogance, we're talking about ownership. When you enter action with boldness, you take responsibility, not just for outcomes, but for presence.
You say, I'm here, I'm moving, I'm not waiting for permission. That mindset alone separates you from the majority.
It's a signal to others, but also to your own psychology, because boldness isn't just a performance, it becomes a practice.
And over time, that practice compounds. People start to expect boldness from you. You become the one who acts, not just reacts.
That's what makes you magnetic, because in a noisy world, people are drawn to certainty. Even more than skill or logic, they want to feel like someone is leading.
And often, that starts with a single choice: to step in, speak up, take the first move, and trust that momentum will catch up.
So if you've been hesitating on a project, a conversation, a risk, this law isn't just a suggestion, it's your green light.
The world isn't waiting for the perfect version of you. It's waiting for the visible version of you, the one that acts with presence and conviction.
Next week, we shift into long-term strategy with Law 29, plan all the way to the end, because boldness without direction is noise, but boldness with vision, that's unstoppable.
Until then, remember, timidity costs more than failure, and hesitation never builds power.
So act, move, enter with force, because if you don't define your presence, someone else will.